It's Prop the Mic coming to you live with an MLB opening day podcast. I don't know about you guys, but in the past, baseball opening day was by far one of my favorite days of the year. My passion, I think, has kind of shifted from baseball to basketball over the last few years, but I spent many Mets opening days tailgating with friends and family at Shea Stadium. So this is a day that's near and dear to my heart, as I'm sure it is to you guys too. I know we need to get started because we have a bunch of games starting within the hour. But before we do, today's podcast is presented by Props.Cash. We 100% cannot do what we do without Props.Cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month. As you can see, we've got another guest on PTM today, our third of 4 guests this week. And this one's very special as he was the first podcast guest in the history of PTM. And when Dave and I decided we were going to launch our own Discord, he was the first person we thought to ask join. So please give a warm welcome to Mike, a.k.a. Proptology. So happy to have you back on the pod as always, Mike. You ready for opening day?
Pumped to be here, man. Pumped for opening day. I got 3 TVs set up in the man cave, ready to watch all of them.
Let's go.
That's awesome.
Nice.
All right. I'm pumped too. As you can tell, Mets fan here. The best thing that happened to us today is our game got rained out. So that just gives us hope for one more day. I'm excited about that. But yeah, we're going to dive into the games. We're going to cover the 4 p.m. games first so that we get those picks out and you guys can lock in those bets. But before we do, Mike, why don't you just give us like an overview of kind of the types of bets that you like to focus on and what you would advise a new prop better or game better for MLB to focus on?
Yeah, so baseball's just so much different than other sports. You know, it's very analytical and there's so many different ways to bet it. So, you know, unlike some other sports, I don't always go into anything with a play in mind or a certain angle. You know, I'll look at a game starting with the pitching matchup a lot of times and kind of just go from there, you know, because with baseball, you know, obviously you can bet money line, you can bet spreads, you can bet a lot of other things too and break down. You'll see first half bets, which is the first 5 innings. You know, you can do first 3 innings on some apps. So first 7 innings also. So in pitching matchups, when I see some kind of angle in the matchup there, you know, you can break it down between innings to help yourself. So maybe, you know, a pitcher's lights out in that first go around in a lineup and you take the first 3 innings. You know, first 5, if that pitcher usually only goes about 5 innings and you're solid with his matchup, but you're not confident with maybe the bullpen, then you can go 5. And then there's other guys who, you know, this pitcher goes 7 innings, this pitcher usually doesn't make it, this bullpen's bad. So you can start to push into that 7 innings and 9 innings. So a lot of times I'll start with the pitching matchup and go from there. You know, obviously you have a ton of different props also that we'll talk about some of them. You have your pitcher props. You can take strikeouts, walks, the amount of outs that they'll get in a game. And then with batters, obviously hits and home runs. But you can also take things like HRR you'll see. And that's hits plus runs plus RBIs. So if a guy's in a good spot in the lineup and has a good matchup versus that pitching or versus left-handers, and there's a bad bullpen too, you know, you can smash that hits, runs, and RBIs. There's just so many different ways to play it. So I don't ever have a set way I'm betting that day. I just kind of let the matchup take me in a certain direction and go from there.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I think the first 5 is particularly interesting early in the season too, because coming out of spring training, most of these starting pitchers, if I recall, are not going to be pushed much beyond 70 plus pitches, maybe 80 pitches today, right?
Yeah, every team's so different. I mean, you know, for example, I was surprised the Dodgers had Glasnow go 5 overseas. So I kind of stayed away from any of his props today. I love him. If he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in the game. But
yeah,
at travel, I don't know. You know, another great example, actually, Zach Gallen. So his total outs today is over 16.5 on some books, 17.5. He's hit that in 17 of his last 20, and he's hit that in 5 of his last 6 against Colorado. But he's hardly ever went that long in a game, in a season opener,
right?
You know, in the beginning of the year. So you got to watch with some of that out stuff. And as you get into the season more, you know, obviously it's a more solid play. But you're right, the 5 innings is very solid early on.
Nice. All right, so I think the followers are ready for their first pick. So let's just talk about the game that's already started. We got the Angels Orioles. I believe first pitch should have happened or is happening right now. Baltimore's big favorite in this game, minus 190. One of the bigger favorites today. Sandoval and Burns. I know you're a big Burns fan this year. Why don't you give us your thoughts on the game or anything that you have here?
Yeah, that's why you guys are the pros. That's a perfect transition. So for this game, I had Baltimore Orioles minus a half a point in the first 5 innings. And that's because, like you said, I love Burns. I mean, you have Burns versus Sandoval, Angels, who are going to, struggle this year traveling across the country. Sandoval is not really an opening day starter on almost any other team. And what he earned was a trip to face Burns. Burns last year, one of the reasons I like him so much is he's been better the past 2 years away. He's played well when he was at Camden. So Burns he had let's see here. He's also better during the day for the past 2 years. So better during the day. He's set for a good matchup. Sandoval was 0-1 last year at Camden with a 1.42 ERA, and the Orioles were better versus lefties last year than righties. And Burns went 7 innings with 0 earned runs, and only 3 players on the current Angels roster have a recorded hit versus Burns. So, there's a lot of hype in Baltimore. And I don't put too much into that, but on opening day, like I'll talk about Cincinnati. If you've seen the videos of what Cincinnati looks like today, it's just red everywhere. Baltimore, I would assume, is going to be the same for how much hype there is for that team and for Burns pitching. So I love them today in the first 5.
Yeah. And would you say that they are a sneaky favorite, not favorite, but a sneaky pick to go far in the playoffs as well? The Orioles?
I mean, I think that division is always so tough, but if the young guys step up the way they're expected to this year, I don't see why not. I mean, I have Burns to win the Cy Young in that division.
Nice.
Just because there's not much competition that can compete with him when he's on his game and he's healthy. He's probably going over 200 strikeouts. He's probably winning the Cy Young.
I love that. All right, let's move on to the first 4 p.m. game. I think the games actually start around 4:10. Tigers, White Sox. Detroit is minus 155, so also a decent favorite in this game. We got Skubal and Crochet.
Yeah,
I had to be corrected before we went live. I was mispronouncing that name. So what do you like in this one? Anything?
So this is a different way to play games too. On FanDuel and different apps, you'll see they have different specials and combos. So I think it's my biggest bet of the day actually is Skubal 6+ strikeouts and Tigers to win. I love the Tigers this year. And you'll see a lot of people are high on Skubal. I think he's going to have a huge season if he's healthy. They both had good springs, Skubal and Crochet. Pretty much why Crochet kind of tripped into that opening day. I mentioned earlier to you guys, there's a handful of pitchers that probably wouldn't be opening day starters on other teams. So those are some matchups to try to take advantage of. But the Tigers lineup, let's see here. Skubal, I mean, he'll probably get over 6 strikeouts, but that plus 115 value is too nice to take. Crochet has problems with walks. He faced the White Sox twice last season. In both of those outings, it was only 1.2 innings that he made it. Now he wasn't pitching in that starter role, but he went 1.2 innings both outings. He walked 3 and 4 batters in that small window.
Wow.
So Skubal, on the other hand, faced the White Sox twice last season, winning both with 7 and 9 strikeouts. And this White Sox team is probably worse. They're going to battle with the A's and the Rockies and teams like that for probably the worst in the league. So I love the 6+ strikeouts and Tigers to win. You can find that on FanDuel at plus 115. All
right. So we'll be fading the White Sox plenty this year, it sounds like. Let's move on. We got the Twins at the Royals. Minnesota's minus 125. So favorite in this game. We got Lopez and Reagans. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Yep, Cole Reagans. He's going to have a huge year. Strikeout monster. Lopez is great too. This is one of the better matchups that I like of the day as far as on the mound goes. Lopez was better away last season and better during the day. Reagan's was great at home last season with a 2.31 ERA. You have on the Twins side, Buxton, Correa, Kepler, Vasquez were all better versus lefties. Lopez was 3-0 versus Kansas City with a complete game shutout. So the way I'm playing this is under 2.5 first 5 innings. That's just to win 1 unit. That's minus 150 on DK. Minus 150 is usually as high as I'll go with a play. But I love both those pitchers, like I talked about earlier, to get through the first go through in the lineup with little problems.
Was that first 5 or first 3 innings
First
for under
3,
2?
first three.
First 3 innings. Nice.
Yeah. So, you would think, they don't see many more than the 9. Not a lot of guys will get a second at bat versus him, which usually, some guys just got to get the cobwebs out. They get used to seeing the pitches and they do better on that second and third go around. So this is a spot where I love the first 3.
Yeah, I love that. Such an advantage for the starting pitcher in that first go around.
Yeah.
Pitchers have been at this from a spring training standpoint longer than the batters, right? So they tend to come out a little stronger. So I love that play.
Especially early in the season, guys have added new pitches, worked on different things, fixed their slider. So, they can catch them off guard that first go round.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. I think we got a player prop in this one, so we'll pull up our props, that cash screen in a second. We got Yanks, Astros. Talk about jumping right into a potential playoff matchup. Houston's minus 150 in this game. Cortez versus Valdez. What do you like here?
Yeah, so you got 2 lefties on the mound here. Valdez didn't have a great spring, and Cortez has a 6.86 ERA versus the Astros. I expect hits and runs in this one. And my play on this one is Juan Carlos Stanton over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. So the reasoning for this is, Stanton seemed to make some changes in the offseason. He's looked good in the spring. His swing looks better. And, even his struggles last year, he was better versus lefties with a better average and almost doubled his slug percentage versus lefties compared to righties. So he also has hit in 3 of the last 4 versus the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hit in all 3 matchups versus Framber, recording 3, 6, and 5, I believe, hits, runs, and RBIs. And overall, he has a .364 average, 1.091 OPS, and .615 slug percentage versus Valdez with a double and a home run. Love
that. Yeah, I mean, this guy's all about health, right? And he seems to be healthy now, so he could do this in one swing, right? That's the beauty of this bet, right?
Yeah. I mean, that if you go to the head-to-head there,
yeah, versus Houston, right?
Yeah, it's been even better than what I mentioned. 3 of the last 4, but it's even better than that, really.
Yeah, I mean, this one goes all the way back to the beginning of 22, and it looks like. What is that? 11 out of 17, and 7 out of the last 10 against Houston.
Yeah, I mean, and shout out to Prop.Cash because everything they've added to the app this season is just unbelievable. I mean, the spray charts, the strikeout zones, the matchups, first pitchers. They up their game every year.
Yeah, they really do. They put a lot of energy in. Not only to adding new functionality, but making sure it's accurate, right? I mean, we're placing money on this. We want to make sure that the information we're betting is off of real accurate data, and they do a phenomenal job with that. So, I'm excited to use some of those new functionalities. But this looks like a great play. Let's transition into another player prop. We're talking Cards, Dodgers, also a 4 p.m. game. LA minus 240. So I think we're going to see that a lot this season. A lot of LA Dodgers games where they're minus 200 favorites or worse. We got Mikolas and Glasnow on this one. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, so I'm going Freddie Freeman over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
Okay.
So, overall, Glasnow should win this one. Like I said earlier to you guys, I think healthy Glasnow is, if not one of the best pitcher in baseball, fully healthy. but that travel back and forth and the weird schedule that they've had, he went 5 innings. He had some walks overseas. LA time, I think it was like 3 a.m. when they were playing, so you can't put a lot to that. I was surprised he went 5 innings. If he went 5 innings over there, you would think he goes 5 here. So I thought about you can take pitcher to record a win. That's where a pitcher has to go 5 innings and be up when they leave the game and then keep the lead for them to record the win. But because of that travel, I'm just staying away from Glass now for today. The reason I like Freddie Freeman over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, he is hitting his last 3 versus Miles Michaelis. He's hitting 9 of the last 11 versus the Cardinals as a Dodger. And Freeman, with this, like I mentioned before, hits, runs, and RBIs. Same with Stanton's going to be behind players like Judge and Soto. Freeman's in an even better position. I mean, he's sandwiched between Betts and Ohtani and Will Smith and Max Muncy, which create a ton of opportunities, for RBIs, runs, whatever it may be. So I love that play for him today.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. I feel bad for any starting pitcher who has to go up against the Dodgers. It's like you just choosing your poison. It's like, all right, I'm going to walk Freeman, but then I'm going to face Ohtani or Betts. It's like, how do you pitch this lineup? So the bases are going to be loaded constantly, and they're going to end up getting a lot of RBIs. And I think this is a beautiful prop bet because it gives you so much flexibility, right? If he knocks in the runs, you get one. If he, if he is the one who gets knocked in for a run, he gets one.
Even if he walks and gets on base, he can get hit for a run.
Excellent, good point. So, love that, and great track record against the Cardinals. You think the Dodgers win this game though, despite the potential fatigue factor?
Yeah, I mean that was a week ago now. I might be thinking too much into it as far as just staying away from Glass. Now, I'm not fading him by any means, but just wanted to stay away from that play. That was – I don't even know how much thought you can really put into that setup, but I think they beat the Cardinals. Cardinals, again, baseball, you got to think a lot. They're traveling all the time, so going across the country, going time zones can affect players. So I like the Dodgers. That should be an easy one. You mentioned Mike Trout just hit a home run already.
There you go. First one of the year.
But, I think they definitely take it.
All right. Nice. Let's move to the next game. We got the Nationals Reds. Cincy's minus 150. Imagine that, Cincinnati Reds being favored. But, they're going to be a special team. They got some young talent. They got some good pitching. I think they're going to do some things. We got Gray and Montas going up against each other. What do you like here?
Yeah, so this is, the Reds are one of my teams that, the Reds, the Tigers, and the Pirates, I think, are going to surprise people this season. And, this matchup on the mound is, probably an example of 2 players who wouldn't be opening day pitchers on a lot of other teams. But Josiah Gray improved over the past 3 years. He's improved each year. But Frankie Montas, when he's healthy, he's pretty lethal. He looked good this spring. He has a 5-pitch arsenal, fastball, sinker. He has a splitter that he throws to mostly lefties, and there's 5 lefties in the Washington lineup today. And then he has the slider and the cutter.
Wow.
So Montas' momentum right now in Cincinnati, and like I mentioned before, if you've seen what Cincinnati looks like today, the hype in the city on opening day and that team, I took the Reds money line.
Yeah, seems like a good bet. I saw your post on X earlier. It just looks like they're gonna take care of business today. So at minus 150 seems like really good value. Some of these other lines are up in the 200. So I like that pick. All right, that wraps up our 4 p.m. games. Now we got a couple games at night. Weird for a day of baseball with this many games. We only got one 7 p.m. game. That's the Cubs and the Rangers. Rangers are minus 120 in this game, and we've got Steele and Evaldi going up against each other. And you have a pick for this one, right?
Yeah, this was the one I posted on Twitter. So I have Corey Seager and I have Corey Seager for 2 total bases. Okay. So let me pull this up here.
I got you here.
So that's one play I didn't talk about. That's another way you can bet baseball, total bases. So, a single would be 1 base. A double obviously would cover for us. That'd be 2 total bases and, or 2 singles. So a couple of different ways he can get there. But, Corey has hit in 3 of the last games versus the Cubs. I'm sorry, versus the versus the
Cubs. Right?
Mix it up. All right, Cubs. Yeah, I got too many notes here. So he's hitting last 3 games versus the Cubs in his last 2 opening day games. He also finished the season 8 of the last 10 at home. In his matchups versus Steele, he went 2 of 3 with a double. That was his only matchup versus Steele. He went 2 of 3 with a double. And honestly, he could smack a home run today. If you look at the spray chart on Prop Stock Cash on the app, he shows 35% of his hits going to the shortest part of Globe Life Field.
Yeah.
So, that's a major upgrade from the rest of the area of the field where he hits from versus lefties. And Seager's matchup shows that he has the highest hit rates versus Steele's top 3 pitches. So on the new matchup tab on Prop Stock Cash, it'll show you the percentage of his hits that were hit versus certain pitches. And then you can go somewhere, to find the pitcher they're going against today. For example, I'll go to Baseball Savant and look at Steele's pitches. His top 3 pitches are the fastball, slider, and sinker. And, those are the 3 pitches that Seager hits the most.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's next level analysis when you start getting into pitch type, and the reality is it's what you got to do to get the edge, right?
Yeah, you really have to in baseball. Basketball, you can kind of say this guy, centers play this well versus the team, but not every no lefty and no righty is the same in baseball. So you kind of have to break down pitch analysis.
Yeah, love that. All right, let's wrap it up for today's slate with one of the 10 p.m. games. We got 3 10 p.m. games. We're going to talk about the Red Sox and the Mariners. Seattle's minus 150 in this game at home, and we got Bello and Castillo going up against each other. Who do you like here?
Yeah, so I got Bello. His line right now is over 4.5 strikeouts. I like to up that to 6+ at 168, and that line the main line might have moved a little bit since I pulled that up this morning. But 6+ strikeouts at plus 168 on FanDuel alt strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see there he's hit. Let me pull this up here. He's hit 7 in both outings last season. His strikeout game really didn't translate even to the majors last year. He struggled at times, but he was a strikeout pitcher in the minors. And in the offseason, it was last year he mainly struggled. One of the reasons was because of his slider struggling. And he worked with Pedro Martinez this offseason.
Nice. And
his stuff has looked good in the spring. Specifically, the slider has better movement. So I love him at 6+ strikeouts at plus 168 for a guy who was struggling last year and hit that twice already versus his team. I love that play today.
Nice. What do you think about breaking that up and maybe taking a portion of the bet and putting it on 4.5, and then a portion of that and putting it on 6+? Would you do something like that too if you're concerned about pitch count or something like that?
Yeah. If you like the latter, I think he can get there within the first 5 innings.
Yeah.
But totally okay with laddering it or playing it safe and just taking the normal line.
Beautiful.
Even some of those plays were minus 150. So if you don't like betting 150s, you can parlay those together too.
Nice. Love that. Or just parlay anything with the Dodgers winning, and that'll probably be a safe way to improve your bet.
That rotation is unreal too, man. The Dodgers rotation.
I know. It's a little unfair what they did. But we'll see. You never know. Baseball's tricky. Some of these smaller market teams can make a splash. Maybe the Pirates will do something that we don't expect this year, right?
I mean, they got some of those young teams could surprise us big time.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the ones that you listed: the Tigers, Pirates, and the Reds. Right, were the three that you said?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So I think those were all your picks for today's 13 games. We skipped over a few, but we wanted to make sure we got these out quickly. Before we wrap up, we did have a futures bet as well that I just want to share with everybody. So, and we have a little promotion going on with this as well. So, so you guys able to see this?
Yep.
All right. So before the season started, we asked Mike, all right, you're the expert in baseball. Let us know, like, who are the players that we should be focusing on for really good value for a futures bet. He came up with, I think, 7 players, and then we kind of pared it down to 5, the 5 of the best that we thought that we were able to parlay together, put it together in a $100 bet. This gives us an output of plus 22.20, so over $2,000 win on this $100 bet. And Mike said, let's give some of this money away. So we're going to give 1,000 of this of these winnings away to one person who signs up using Mike's link. So head to Mike's page on X, and we'll give $1,000 away if this one cashes, if you sign up for the PTM Discord through Mike's affiliate link. All right, yeah, let's go. I love giving some money away. But let's just talk through this really quickly. You mentioned Corbin Burns was obviously a really good Cy Young candidate. Seems like a slam dunk to get 200 strikeouts. What about Ohtani with 18 stolen bases?
Yeah, I don't have all my notes on those in front of me. Burns, like you said, if he stays healthy, I think he's went over that number of times here in the past few seasons, and he pitches better away. Ohtani, honestly, that should be easy. I think he stole one overseas where it wasn't even close. Plus with the new rules, and you figure, he's rested. He's not doing anything else but hitting and running. 17.5 shouldn't be much of a problem, especially when you consider the lineup he's in. The pitcher has to be focused on the batter. Can it create more steals? And even this year with steal plays, if you noticed, I think it was the Mets actually. Was it Lindor who put his foot in front of a base? I don't know if you caught that. They changed the rule. So if your foot's in front of a base, he's automatically safe, no matter how close the play was or not.
Yeah, they're trying to protect the players, and the base is like gigantic now. So that's really helped increase stolen bases as well.
Yeah, and then O'Neill.
Yeah.
O'Neill is sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. O'Neill Cruz. I was just setting it up.
Yeah, he I like him to go 30 for 30 and 30 this year. 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases.
Wow.
If he's healthy, he's just he's an alien. He's not like, any other player. And the lineup that he's playing in is better, I would say, this year. So 23.5 stolen bases, I think, is almost too easy. And then Corey Seager, when he's healthy, he's just a freak, especially, we looked at some of his numbers there and how he hits at home and versus lefties. So 30 should be no problem. I believe he's hit that a number of times when healthy. And then one of the players I think is going to have such a huge season is Tristan Cassis in Boston. That dude can smack a ball 400 at any mistake. And, he's only going to get better at this point in his career. So 25.5, I think, is a smash too. Yeah.
I had to search from book to book to be able to put all these 5 together, but they all seem like really, really possible. And I can't wait to track this throughout the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys take advantage of the offer. Go to Mike's page on X. Sign up for the PTM Discord. You'll get access to all of Mike's plays, all of our plays. We've got several other cappers that are part of the group as well. And like I said, when this one hits, we'll pay out $1,000 to one of the people that sign up.
Let's go.
Beautiful. All right. Does that wrap us up?
That's it. Yeah, I think we covered it.
All right, very nice. Just in under the 30-minute mark, so very nice. Thanks for joining, Mike. I'm my head's spinning a little bit. Baseball betting is not my forte, but I picked up a few good tips here today. So gonna get a couple wagers placed here and ride your coattails to some victories tonight. So thanks for joining. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, and let's make some money tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Let's go.
Got it.